Hey guys, today I want to talk about growing up introverted in a family full of extroverts and how I found my true self and started living the life that I actually wanted to live. This is all non-scripted. I just was thinking when I was driving to work today about how for the first time in my life I'm actually living in my true self, and it took a while to get here, and it was a journey, and it's a journey no matter what in life. Anything with the best rewards is always something that you have to put time and effort into and focus on the process rather than the reward. I started thinking about when I was a kid. I'm the oldest sibling of two sons, and my younger brother's 3 years younger than me. But when we were growing up, he was very much more extroverted than me. And it seemed as though when I tried to emulate some of those things, whether it was wanting to be around friends, wanting to go out and do things, I was always slightly uncomfortable when there were too many external stimuli going on and I was out of my comfort zone. I always kind of wanted to just be relaxing and be at home, but I still had a strong desire to be around other people. So it was kind of like a conundrum that I was in. From a very young age, I remember this, and I grew up in an Italian family with lots of aunts and uncles living in close proximity to my house, even on the same street. So it was very common for unannounced drop-ins and sleeping on a Saturday and hearing an uncle kind of loudly talking downstairs, hearing a maintenance worker that my dad would hire for whatever random, hold on, my camera's about to fall. So I kind of felt this level of shame where I would want to just be alone, but I liked having my family nearby. It was a weird feeling, right? Like tons of chaos could be going on in my house, but I'd want to go to my room and kind of get away from it all. And I noticed growing up that my dad kind of leaned towards that way too. We would make fun of him all the time and say my dad would just go upstairs to the bedroom and change outfits multiple times a night when people were over. If it was like a Christmas party or a large gathering, he would just kind of disappear and then come back wearing something new. And it was kind of like this running joke in our household that he would do. But looking back, it makes total sense that he was just uncomfortable with the large amount of people that were there that were primarily my mom's side of the family, right? Because he was born and raised in Italy, and his family was, some of them were nearby in neighboring Jersey towns, but most of them were overseas. So Christmas for him was very different than Christmas for my mom. And I noticed that he would do that, and I would want to do that too. My brother and my mom would be more of like the social butterflies of the house. And I always felt this, I was looking forward to Christmas and I was looking forward to gatherings and birthday parties and in being invited over with friends. But when I would be there, I would always want to kind of go home after a certain amount of time, whether it was a few hours, whether it was a sleepover, and I'm like, I don't really want to stay here. I kind of just want to be in my own bed. But I felt this incongruence when I would sometimes try to express that. My mom or other people would be like, can't you just enjoy it? Can't you just be normal? Can't you just kind of suck it up and you'll be fine? It's not the end of the world. And for a long time, that's what I did. I did that from, I don't know, age 3 years old up until I was in college. I always wanted to be around people, but I didn't realize how much large groups of people and tons of stimuli really drained me. And my fantasies would always be just being alone and just kind of having space to myself, even if it was for a few hours just to decompress, because I didn't really get that growing up in my household. I had a bedroom that I could shut my door and I could play music really loudly and kind of shut the lights and jam with my guitar along to other songs, and that became my escape, along with playing sports and being kind of mind focused on a different prize. But when it came down to the socializing with people, I always felt like I was a little different. I always felt that other people were way more comfortable going out, drinking all night, sometimes going out at midnight or later in college. And I remember when the sun started to set in college, I kind of wanted to set along with the sun. And I wish that I was more congruent with my desires back then, because I ended up doing a lot of things that I didn't really want to do. Staying out really late, partying when I'm not a partier, drinking when I'm not a drinker at all. I actually haven't had any alcohol in a few years, and it's just for health reasons, like because I feel as though I was trying too hard to emulate what other people were doing while drinking something that I didn't like. I never liked the way that I felt when I drank, but I would do it anyway just to be around other people. When I was growing up, this was the norm in high school and in college. The people that were introverted were known as the weird people that like laid at home on their couch with their cats and complained about the neighbors making too much noise and ate a bunch of ethnic food. I don't know, I'm just riffing off of what I thought introverted people were like back then. They were always, in my mind, scarier people to be around. Maybe they had emotional problems, they were too sensitive. I didn't want to be around them. And obviously all of that is completely all fabricated in my mind because everybody is so much more complex than just whether being introverted or extroverted. But at that time, I was so afraid of not conforming that I consistently put myself in situations where I didn't want to be. When I was younger, I had friends that I gravitated towards, that we really connected with. We played music, we listened to things that we loved, we watched indie movies at the time in the late 90s, early 2000s that were about cool things that we wanted to pursue, whether it was writing music or being involved in something artistic. But as I got older, I started gravitating. One of my bigger regrets in life is I started gravitating towards the wrong crowd. I gravitated towards the crowd of people that were always doing something. We're going to parties. We're coming up with things to do, going to people's houses all the time, going down the shore in New Jersey all the time to party towns and whatnot. And I started neglecting the real group of people that I kind of felt the most comfortable, that didn't judge me. But when I would be with the wrong crowd, they would judge me. They would see that I wasn't really in it. They might, and whether they were really in it or not is a whole different story. But at the time, watching them drink, watching them always want to do stuff that involved heavy amounts of stimuli all day and all night was something that I just wasn't a part of. But I did anyway, and I was constantly drained. Everything that I just talked about culminates in the fact that I was always drained when I was living this lifestyle. So I could have slept for 12 straight hours, but I would wake up feeling drained because my lifestyle was not congruent with who I really am and who I really was at my core. I didn't have the tools and the inner self-guidance during those years to take a step back and say, what do I really want? What is my core? What is my soul telling me, asking me to do right now? And it took me until I was in my 30s to figure this out, and it all snowballed from there. So growing up this way does not mean that you will always be this way. We are not our past, we are who we are right now. So when I started noticing what really worked for me and I started living my own life, everything changed. I stopped caring about what other people thought, and I started doing what I wanted. It was the best, most gratifying feeling in the world. I no longer was staying out late at night and just wanting to get home just because other people wanted to do it and I agreed to drive them and then I was stuck with them all night. How many of you have been in that position before where you do something you don't want to do and you're stuck doing it because you agreed to do it? I would wake up early and enjoy the early morning before everybody else and have that time to myself, and really whatever I wanted to do in those hours, I would do. When I would be on long periods of drives in the car by myself, instead of filling that silence with calling random people and connecting with them, when I really kind of just want to listen to a little bit of music by myself because work has been crazy or my life is just going like this, I would actually start doing that. And what happened was I started utilizing the muscles and the skills of that part of my life rather than the monotony of how I used to be. And once that started becoming clearer in the picture, the old version of me began to completely melt away. So suddenly I had confidence in talking to my family and saying, I am not like you guys, and that's okay. That's an okay thing. I remember a couple of years ago, I had a conflict with my mom about this. and I had a friend that lived nearby in a South Jersey town. I'm from North Jersey, but my family has a vacation home in the South Jersey area, and in the summertime, we would all go down there. My brother would want to do things that were more extroverted, like going on boats with people and going and day drinking and being more out and about, staying out at night. And I would want to do things that involve relaxing and kind of being in my own comfort zone. So my friend that was living nearby was going to come visit. And my mom had said about me and my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, oh, when he comes to town, he'll probably want to hang out with your brother because you guys are like, isn't that so boring that you just want to stay in? And it struck such a nerve in me that I finally unloaded in a real way. I was like, I am so much more than being a boring person. This is my true self. I am not somebody that wants to go out to the bars all night. I do not like bars and clubs. I don't like drinking. I don't like that lifestyle. I work really hard all week so that I can enjoy my time off when I have time off. So for you to call me boring, you don't even know me. I have to give her a lot of credit for how she showed up after that, because she understood. It took a minute for her to understand, but when she understood, it was like a whole new version of me was born. And my wife was really proud of the fact that I was standing up for who we really were and who we really believed in ourselves to be. So a little bit of discomfort led to a deeper understanding, which is coincidentally one of my favorite War on Drugs albums of all time. It led to a deeper understanding of who I am as a person. And it gave me the confidence to be able to talk to my parents and talk to my friends and be like, I'm waking up today and this is what I want to do. There would be random weekends where I'd wake up and I'd have plans with them to do something. But in my head, I'd be like, I just want to go to New York City and put headphones in and walk around the streets all day. I want to walk into random stores. I want to walk into random shops. I want to play guitar. I want to drink coffee. I want to have a really nice day. And then that's my stimulation. And then I come home to a peaceful home. There's nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with what my friends wanted to do. It's just lined up differently in our lifestyle. So when I got into my job, it's a very social job, but I started finding the peace and confidence within of Irish goodbying from an event if I don't want to be there. Saying no to an event that I really don't want to go to. Saying yes to the appropriate things that I know are good for me in my career, but no to the things that are not aligned with who I truly am. It's such an empowering feeling to look back at your childhood or to look back at whatever version of you that existed and realize you are no longer that person. You are so much more. You have so much more experience and life that you have lived and you are currently living and you will live. So to not be bogged down by the past is a beautiful thing. I definitely choose to not live with any type of regret, because I forget how the quote perfectly goes, but if you erase your past mistakes, you erase who you are. And I choose to look at every decision that I've ever made to lead to this version of me that I am right now. Growing up in a house or culture full of people that I thought that I wasn't really aligned with is not the end of the world, because when you figure out your true self and you have confidence of living that version of who you are, if you're not hurting anybody else and you're living your true self, then in my opinion, that's the most free anybody can ever be. I don't think you can be a free person if you're not living your true life. Obviously, you know that jiu-jitsu was a big catalyst in this with me, to start focusing on things mentally and physically that showed me what I was made of mentally and physically. And once I started falling in love with that art, I started looking at old versions of who I was or old patterns of who I was as a little different and a little easier to overcome. If anybody's experiencing discomfort in living the current lifestyle that they're living, it doesn't mean you're always gonna feel this for the rest of your life. I would suggest trying to hone in on the things that really bring you joy and bringing more of those things into your life. And little by little, it'll start to omit the things that don't bring you the intrinsic love and joy that you feel. And telling people around you is one way to do it, but showing them that this is who you are, in my opinion, is the best way to truly be your best self. Because we could sit back and talk all day. I could talk all day about what I want to do, but until I actually start doing it and showing myself that this is congruent with who I am, None of it matters. It's just talk. And other people, we were putting too much stock into what they think if you're telling them what you're going to do and hoping that it aligns with what they believe. It really only comes down to who you are and what you want. I don't live my life with regrets. And at the same time, yes, it would have been great to know all of these things growing up because I could have avoided a lot of negative feelings, but I truly don't believe I'd be the same person that I am right now. And I'm very proud of who I am now. And I'm proud of who I'm going to be. That's all we can do is continue to try to look in the mirror every day, try to be a better person, and see the things that are bringing us love and joy and trying to foster them and nurture them more, and recognize the things that hurt us and bring us down and avoid those. There's nothing wrong with being extroverted. I have tons of people in my life that are extroverted people, and I am nothing like them at my core, and they are nothing like me at their core. But we love one another, we're friends, we're coworkers, we're family. And it doesn't mean that you're better than anybody because you're introverted or extroverted. It just means, hopefully, all types of people are living the true life that they want to live for them and not for anybody else. Have a great day, everybody. I'll talk to you soon.